working on those sort of issues, but it was a real surprise for everybody. So most breeders do an absolutely terrific job. We've got about 3.5 million, maybe 4 million dogs in Australia. Most of them are living happily ever after. Breeders generally do a terrific job. Don't ever let anybody tell you that's not the case. Most dog owners, we've done a lot of research asking people what they think about their dog. Most dog owners love them to bits. Are really satisfied with them, think they look great, think their behaviour is perfect. If they do have problems, these are the problems that they report. So if they're dissatisfied with their dog, it's because it is disobedient or unfriendly or nervous or anxious or excitable or it barks. They never tell us that they're dissatisfied with their dog because it's a bit tall or its angulation isn't quite right. We don't get that. It's behaviours that cause grief to dog owners. Okay? This is a dog that's not in trouble because it's black and white. It's in trouble because it's ripping someone's arm off on a lead. That's a behavioural problem. Probably the owner's fault, but nonetheless, right? Same here, right? This is not a dog that's going to be in trouble for having not perfect conformation. This is a dog that's in trouble because it's scaring the crap out of another dog. And we don't like that anymore, okay? So behaviours, if we go, Linda Marston did a PhD with me and with the Animal Welfare Science Centre looking at why dogs get relinquished to shelters. They don't very often. Right? It's not the case that our shelters are flooded with unwanted dogs. Most dogs live happily ever after. The ones who do end up in shelters, often we don't know why, so about a third of them we don't know. About a third of them are owner factors, so I'm moving house, I have to get rid of my dog. That's, I think, is a little bit of a furphy, right? But, you know, if you really love your dog and it's the perfect dog for you, you don't get rid of it because you go move house. You might have to occasionally, but not a third of all people that get rid of dogs. So, and too much effort. What does that mean? You know? How much effort is too much? But you can see dog aggression accounts for about 3% and dog behaviour, which we can break down into a whole lot of things, about another 10 or 11%. So dog behaviour does get dogs surrendered to shelters. And this, of course, is only the ones who are surrendered by owners. It's not the ones who are picked up because they're wandering the streets. A lot of them have behaviour problems as well. Once they get to a shelter, what results in them being euthanased again is behaviour problems. So a lot of dogs are euthanased for health issues. Mostly they're too old or they've got skin problems or joint problems or whatever, but behaviour and aggression in particular accounts for a lot of dead dogs in shelters. Right? And it's just terrible that people go to work in shelters because they love dogs and end up killing them for a living. It's terrible, not good enough. We need to do something about it. It's not good for the dogs either, by the way. Okay, so now I think that getting behaviour right is way more difficult than it used to be. It's really hard to get dog behaviour right, and the biggest reason for that is because we've messed things up. Our lifestyle has changed so much, right? We've now got completely different expectations for our dogs than we used to have. I live on 100 acres. If I'm down the back paddock, I know when someone turns into my driveway, and I know that because my dogs bark, right? They're up at the house. Some of them are usually down the paddock with me. My dogs are a very loud and very vocal doorbell. Right? They sit there and they watch the end of the driveway, and as soon as a car turns into it, I know about it. Right? Now, if you live in a suburban block or if you live in an apartment in St Kilda, you can't do that anymore. You can't have dogs that bark whenever someone comes within 200 metres at your front door. But it's a perfectly normal dog behaviour. And so our expectations have changed. We now think thou shalt be quiet when strangers approach the house. We also think thou shalt be friends with everyone and everything. Right? This is not what dogs were for. Dogs were supposed to protect our camps. You know? They weren't friendly to strangers, they were friendly to family. Dogs are designed to bond very closely with people that they know, not so much with strangers, and yet we expect them to do that. And most of them do it really, really well, but it's a change in our expectations. Thou shalt be content with a solitary life in a very small enclosure. Right? We expect our dogs to put up with living in city apartments. We expect them to live up in courtyards, in backyards that they never get out of. Most of them do it really well. It's hard for some dogs, really hard. They're not equipped to do that. And thou shalt not need to exercise or do anything else doggy ever. No? Thou shalt not ever need to run off lead. Thou shalt not ever dig in my rose patch. We have all these rules for our dogs that are often totally unrealistic, totally not what dogs were for. We stuffed dogs. A lot of people out there should have stuffed dogs. This is an off-lead dog park. I suspect these places are nightmares for a whole lot of dogs. You know? Dogs that are good at off-lead parks, terrific, and a lot of dogs are good at it. I just wouldn't go there with my dogs, don't need to. I don't need to because I've got 100 acres and they run on that. But, you know, dogs are designed to have a bit of turf that they protect and to stop other dogs coming onto that turf. They're also designed not to go on another dog's turf. And here we've got a whole lot of dogs chucked in together, thou shalt be friends with everyone. And those dogs, to me, don't look happy. Right? And nobody's noticed. Go figure. Right? So, you know, it's hard what we expect our dogs to do. We think they're going to be this perfect little animal, and sometimes they're not. What we used to do and what we still do, if they don't fit our expectations, get another dog. Right? And this is what our shelters are for. Your dog doesn't fit your expectations, off it goes, get another dog. And it was those of you who were at Ray Coppinger's talk last year in Sydney, that was his answer to everything. And my dog won't herd sheep, get another dog. My dog barks too much, get another dog. And it was really, he was, you know, tongue-in-cheek, he was having us on a little bit, but it was really obvious that that's been the solution for hundreds of years now. Your dog doesn't work, get another dog. And I've read old training books, that's what they say. There's a big book, How to Teach Your Dog to Herd. Basically what it says in like 300 pages is get another dog. Because no one taught their dogs how to herd, the dogs just did it. They were selected on that basis. The guys who used to live in far north Queensland and used dogs to herd animals, they didn't train them. Nobody trained dogs, they were too busy working. The dog just did stuff. So the solution has been get another dog. We have a different solution, so we do that a fair bit. We do cull, and culling doesn't necessarily mean killing, it means getting out of the breeding program, but we also train them to death. Right? So my dog's got a problem with other dogs, train it, fix it, socialise it, we tell everybody that. Right? If that doesn't work, medicate. How many anxious staffies are on Clomicalm? Lots. You know, we medicate to help our dogs, and we manage them. So head halters, crates, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing. To manage an individual dog, it's absolutely what you should be doing, but this is not a good strategy in terms of breeding for the future. A dog's got a problem, medicate, doesn't have a problem anymore, breed it anyway. That's not good. Right? It's good for the dog to manage it, not good for breeding. Head halters weren't around 100 years ago. Was that because we hadn't thought of them yet? I don't think so, because I've been using them on horses for a long time. I think we didn't need them because our dogs never went on lead. They just followed us. So things have changed. So I think we need to stop blaming owners for dog behaviour problems, and I think we do that way too much. I think we should blame owners a lot of the time, but I think we shouldn't do it to the exclusion of everything else. So yes, there are lots of bad owners. Yes, a good trainer can take most dogs with problems and fix them, but I don't think that's true of all of them. Not all dogs are born equal. Some are better at other things, some things than others. Lots of owners do everything right and still end up with problems. As breeders, that's our fault. And even experts can't fix all dogs. These are some of my dogs sitting in the hay. Guess which one's got a behaviour problem? Some of you know. Right? Actually, all of them have, if they're in a certain environment. You know? Most of them are terrific in my environment. In a different environment, every one of them I could make have a behaviour problem. Right? So you've got to match them to the environment you want them to live in. This is my current problem child, Hamish. I was talking about him before. He's a terrific dog, really friendly, lovely temperament, but he needs to run 50 kilometres a day. Right? Is that something I want to breed from? Don't know. Maybe not. Right? We've got to acknowledge that not everyone is obsessed with training and socialising dogs like we are. Right? We surveyed 400 companion dog owners about training. Turns out that 8.7 participated in a range of training activities always. That's mostly you guys. Right? 23% always went to training every week, religiously, twice a week they went to training. At the other end of the scale, nearly 41% had never been to a formal class ever. And these were people who cared enough about their dogs to do our survey. So these are not average people. The survey's already biased. 40% never went to training. 7%, none, never. Never taught their dog to sit. Right? Now, when I first got that data, I was appalled. Absolutely, my goodness, what's going on here? It's consistent with data from overseas. 25% of people train their dogs. Right? Less likely to train your dog if you've got problems with it. Now, cause and effect you can worry about there, right? Are they less likely to train them, therefore they've got problems, or do they not go to training because they've got problems and it's too embarrassing? And if you've ever had a dog with a behaviour problem and tried to take it to a training club and get help, it can be a pretty bad experience. So we need to do more to help these people. Right? But I was really horrified. Why would anybody own a dog and not train it? That makes no sense to me, doggy person that I am. But I thought about it a bit more. We send our kids to school for years, so maybe what we do need to do is concentrate on educating the public, getting them into training, and certainly I think that's important. But also, formal training is a new kid on the block. It's not that, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, nobody went to formal training. It was something that the doggy nuts did. Dogs just hung out. They just hung out. They just did what they did. Formal training is a new invention. Why do you reckon that is? Why do modern dogs need to be trained?